Tickle my taste buds anytime you want.
Huh?
Sometimes a movie drops that reminds us what we're capable of while also bringing a fresh new take to a classic. The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, is just that. I've always been a die-hard Looney Tunes fan ever since I was a kid, so finally getting a theatrical 2D animated film has always been something I was close to giving up hope for. We were starved in these streets for some proper Looney Tunes rep in these movies. Space Jam was Space Jam, and Back in Action was basically making up for Space Jam. This new movie simultaneously somehow had a low bar and a high bar to clear. The low being the live action movies, and the high being the standard of the Looney Tunes.
Say what?
So how does a movie with such an important legacy behind it live up to it? Well, the story follows Porky and Daffy as two down on their luck adopted brothers who face their house foreclosure for failed maintenance of their roof, which was caused by an alien ship crash landing on Earth. This makes the boys find jobs to pay for their roof, causing them to meet a gum scientist named Petunia, who Porky takes a liking to. She gets them a job at the gum factory, where they soon discover aliens are contaminating the gum to mind control people to take over the world. Now it's up to this unlikely trio to stop the oncoming invasion while also finding a way to save Daffy and Porky's childhood home. If you were going to do an original Looney Tunes movie, an Invasion of the Body Snatchers approach is not a bad choice. The Tunes have gone against aliens before, even in lesser cases. Argue with your mother. But this outing makes it clear the crew understands the Looney Tunes. They are in perfect form here. This is the Looney Tunes movie we've always wanted. They make things interesting by actually giving the Tunes an arc. Most times the Looney Tunes don't change after their movies, but without spoiling anything, they definitely come out differently than when the movie starts here. It's amazing how focused this is on the trio. It never loses sight of who this story is about and gives each character very satisfying conclusions to their arc. It takes things back to basics by having it be Porky and Daffy as the main duo, as opposed to Bugs and Daffy, the more popular goofballs. It clearly is trying to reintroduce the Looney Tunes to a new audience a la X-Men 97 style, mixing the fundamentals of the past with techniques of today. Porky and Daffy have always been a fun pair ever since the Tunes were in black and white. It also stems from the fact that there have been plenty of new Looney Tunes shorts that use this pair more than Daffy and Bugs. I welcome it because I did grow up with the old black and white shorts with Porky and Daffy. No, I'm not that old. It's just they played those back a lot. Plus, if you're going to reintroduce the Tunes, why not start with the first Looney Tunes? That wasn't racist. Yes, Bugs wasn't the first.
They go both ways.
He said they go both ways.
These two have a strong friendship that we've seen them with before, but more in the Daffy taking advantage of Porky kind. Here, they work more as adopted brothers. Porky is the more put together one, and Daffy is a whack job. It's funny to see Daffy back at his original antics versus being the cynical opposite to Bugs, but let's be real, this works for their dynamic. Daffy is still somewhat unreliable as a friend, but it's not in the treating Porky as a doormat way. It's more a case of he's too crazy to be around. He's that one friend who can't chill at the hangout sesh. Porky is more a nervous Nancy type just trying to live his life. You get his frustrations with Daffy, especially when it comes to impressing Petunia. Daffy causes a lot of the problems for the trio to face, so you get good conflict between these two. They feel like brothers having to face their differences. Even if the Looney Tunes work like vignettes for any other comedy short they do, this gets genuine drama from these two. Which, God, I have been wanting to see that in a Looney Tunes film. I didn't really think they could pull it off, but I always wanted to see it. But here we are with gut-wrenching performances by Porky Pig and Daffy Duck of all characters. And let's not forget Petunia. I am so happy they used Petunia for this. She's been getting the short end of the stick for so long. Finally got introduced in the Looney Tunes show, only for the show to get canned before they could do much with her.
Whore.
Here, she's in full swing. They don't Space Jam Lola her because she actually has comedy to her. She's quirky and out there with her want to find a new gum flavor. She tests anything with flavor, and I mean just about anything. From sponges to squid ink, she puts whatever to the taste test. She's fun with how goofy she can be. She's not made to be the butt of a joke or to be a damsel in distress. She's an actual character here, though they low-key get off some crazy jokes with her. If you thought they couldn't make a few sneaky adult jokes in this day and age, you'd be wrong. And for all those shippers out there, if you ever thought her and Porky make a cute couple, this movie proves it 10 times over. They genuinely are adorable in this movie. They have a natural chemistry to them that is built up properly. When they both stutter, it's to die for. You just want to eat them up. And not because they make good bacon. Also, I'm betting the animators saved a ton of time with these two basically being doppelgangers. Speaking of which, the animation is phenomenal with these expressions. They get by economically with their reuse of some expressions, but not in an overly noticeable way. It's back to those old school techniques of animating with new school technology to push it, all without any dumbass AI, at a $15 million budget too. Which means y'all better support this film. Come on now, that is not a hard threshold to beat, but I digress. This definitely sets a standard on 2D animated films making a comeback to theaters. There's so much on display, from the character acting to the unique shots to the well-crafted backgrounds. God, is it breathtaking to see the first fully realized 2D Looney Tunes movie on the big screen. It's insane to say I've witnessed this in my 30s. The Looney Tunes were maybe my earliest memories of animation. They set me on my path with animation. I wouldn't have as much love as I have for the medium if it wasn't for them. So believe me when I say this movie made love to me. If you fear they can't make you laugh like the old shorts, trust, you don't have to worry. It's genuinely hilarious. There's clever jokes aplenty as well as great slapstick. The characters are definitely very bendy here, but a good use of sound effects and good timing makes it work here. Even though they squash and stretch, they still look and feel like they get hurt. Looney Tunes prided themselves on having clever setups before their punchlines, and this movie is no exception. You might think it would need to rely on modern sensibilities before watching this, especially with certain jokes that were in the trailers, but it doesn't have anything too far in a modern sense. Aside from a few jokes about some modern day trends, especially one that is way too funny, it doesn't try to shove any forced memes down your throat or anything. You're getting some pure modern Looney Tunes gold with this movie. The alien threat is probably one of the funniest villains I've seen in a Looney Tunes movie. I can't get too much into them since everything about them plot-wise is pretty important, especially for the jokes that they have for this character, but they are a pretty good addition to the Looney Tunes alien roster, I will say the least. But no one's beating the GOAT Marvin.
I'm a Martian!
There's a lot of really good jokes to them that makes them memorable. They even got a funny sidekick character that's a little bit of a sick joke when you think about them for a second. There's plenty of good fun to get out of the villain in this movie, without giving too much away about them. Trust me when I say when you see this character, you'll understand why I'm being so vague. It's gonna be an enjoyable experience when you find out. Even the performances go hard with this movie. Eric Bauza absolutely kills it as Porky. You don't feel for a second that they're played by the same guy, especially when they actually have emotions for some scenes. He also brings out the old Mel Blanc technique of breaking the voice to emphasize a point. Here it's used more to get across some severity.
I am amused!
Candy Milo also plays a great Petunia. She matches that quirky energy perfectly for her. These performances bring out a lot of personality from these characters. This is the Looney Tunes movie we never got. It's been so many decades without a proper fully animated theatrical Looney Tunes, and here we are with one that's basically perfect. The comedy is absolute gut busting. The characters are the funniest they've ever been. The animation is beautifully made. It's the Looney Tunes in their prime, updated to work for modern audiences without losing what made them classics to begin with, helped by the fact that the crew is made up of old and new animators, so there doesn't feel like a generational divide. If you're a diehard fan of the Looney Tunes, then this is the movie you've waited your whole life to see. If you have the ability to see it in theaters, then please go get a ticket. We need this to actually do well. 2D animation can actually make a comeback only if y'all show up for this. It's not playing in Regal, it's only playing in AMC, so please go to your local AMC or whatever. Wherever you find a showing, go see it. This is definitely a Looney movie that you should tune into.
Thank you.